Good afternoon. It's Betty Shan here. I hope you've had a blessed day and I hope everything's went your way. And I want to say I have some of the sweetest people writing me. And I appreciate them little notes and things that you send me. Now, I would start thinking people and saying different things about different ones, like Kathy and Susan and some of y'all. But everybody is so sweet that the thing of it is, if I start calling names, I'll pronounce them wrong. I'll say the wrong thing. And I just want to let you know that there's not a one of you that I don't enjoy hearing from. And I love in each and every one of you. That's the thing today. If we can have that good, pure love in our heart, that we have ought on nobody, we have ought for nobody. We have to sometimes work at it. I was just thinking today, if my husband had have lived, we would have had our 55th, 56th wedding anniversary, the 18th of October. Of course, I know that time has went by, but I think about things that happened and things that went on, and I remember that I was 21 years old when I married Mr. Shan or Edgel, and he had the two little girls, and Lynette was 6 years old, and Angie was 2 years old. And there was a lot of things that happened. When I got married, I knew it was going to be love ever after. And oh, it was going to be the best thing that ever happened to me. Never be a problem. There'd never be any problems I couldn't solve. And everything was just going to be great. And I even remember one time we went on a date, and Lynette was old enough that she was getting excited because she's going to get a new mommy. And I remember we went and picked her up at the house where she was living with her grandmother at the time. And we was going to take her out to eat with us. And she was standing back behind me in the car. And back then, you didn't have to have car seats for kids. And they didn't have to be strapped in seat belts and everything. So she was just riding behind me that day. And one of the first things that come out of her mouth, she stood up behind me in the car and was talking, had her head between me and her daddy, and she was just talking 90 to nothing. And she said, all of a sudden, she said, "So you will be my stepmama?" And I said, "Yes, I will be your stepmama." She said, "Well, they say that all stepmamas are mean." And I couldn't believe it. Edgel come unwound. He said, "Lynette, where did you hear that from?" But he didn't push the issue because I think he had pretty well of an idea of where it might have come from. And he really didn't want her telling me where it come from. But, I should have woke up then and thought, yeah, I'm fixing to get into something I don't know what I'm getting into. If I'd have had Lynette, I would have been in the ninth grade. I was just 14 years older than Lynette. And anyway, that thing opened, another thing opened, but I just overlooked everything. And that's the way we do sometimes when we get married and we're young and we're in love, and there'll never be nothing go wrong in our world. But I'm here to tell you, honey, it will go wrong. Everything that can go wrong sometimes goes wrong. But anyway, I just kind of overlooked that little comment that Lynette made and went on and didn't think much else about it till years later. And I thought that was the start of something that somebody had told her to try to hurt our family. It shouldn't have ever been said to her, but it was. And but Lynette thought I was the world. She would go to school and just brag about her new mommy. I know the teacher got me aside and talked to me one day, and she said, "Lynette thinks that the sun rises and sets in her new mommy." And her new mommy thought the sun rose and set in her too. I loved her to death. And she was such a sweet little girl, but she was a mouthy little girl. She always had something to say. But I want to tell you girls something. If you're out there today and you're young and you're fixing to start your life, don't ever think problems won't come, because problems will come. As a matter of fact, if I had my way, there would be another holiday, and that holiday would be for stepmoms and dads, because you're taking on someone else's child, and a lot of times them kids has been influenced to be against you before ever anything happens in your life that you could make something wrong. Somebody else is already trying to create wrong for you. But I'll never forget several things that happen, and in time I will tell you several things that come up with me and Lynette. She was a little jewel, but she was prone to tell everybody how everything was. She wasn't a meek, kind, humble little girl. She had her mouth, and she could really get you told at times, and although she did that, you had to have a lot of patience to deal with her, and you had to have a lot of patience when you get married and you take on somebody else's responsibility. It doesn't come easy. And I think us stepmoms deserve a special holiday, and us stepdads too. I know occasions have arose where I have seen stepdaddies that had hard times getting along with the stepkids because everybody seemed to work against you. People don't want to see it work, the other members of the family. Of course, like I've said before, there was some that were good and there was some that worked against us, but uh, the main thing of it is, if you're determined to have a home and you have to work hard at it, homes don't come easy. Houses comes easy, but homes don't come easy. There's a lot of difference between a house and a home. A house is something you go to get ready for work and to go to bed and get up and to go to work the next day, but a home is where the heart is. And I want to tell you, sometimes it's hard to work that hard in there and get everybody to loving one another, and things go wrong, and your husband may say something that he didn't mean it like it sounded, but it come out wrong, and it hurts your feelings. And sometimes it's very, very, very hard to get over them things. And as your stepchildren grow, they get their little opinions. And I know I had one of my stepchildren look at me one time and say, "My mama was pretty, but you're so ugly." And of course that hurt my feelings. I was just a 21-year-old girl trying to raise somebody else's kids that needed a mama. But you just have to fight and continue to go on, and you have to, I'm not saying fight with your fist, I'm saying you have to fight against being hurt. You have to pray. It takes a lot of prayer. And I'm so thankful that my mother raised me to know what prayer was and to know when I needed to pray. And I am so thankful. And today, or the last few days, we would have celebrated our 55th wedding anniversary. And I'm so glad that I stuck, that I didn't walk out, I didn't give up, because I loved my husband and I loved all my children. I didn't just love certain ones of them. My heart was open and I loved them all. And I would have done anything for any of them. It wasn't none of them that I wouldn't have done things for if they needed it. So you keep your chin up. Don't you give up on your family. You make your house a home. Put your heart into it. Pray and live for the Lord. God bless you. Bye.